Musano just gave a welcome statement. Next is Information Minister Ujala Maikpia. Also, here we are journalists. I would like to say welcome.
So
this
the
is the Liberian National Television.
legal advisor is Councillor Bukibe Keita, since his name was in court. And I'd like to welcome one of them, the Leader of the Cabinet, the Attorney General, Councillor Keita, and other officials who've accompanied them to this special press conference. The government of Liberia announces an arrangement with the government of the United States of America for the dignified, safe, and timely transfer from the United States of America to the Republic of Liberia of persons to be removed from the United States. The arrangement is based on an exchange of notes between the two countries on September 4th and September 10th, 2025. Liberia intends to accept up to 1,200 persons to be transferred from the United States of America within a year. The persons to be transferred to Liberia are third country nationals, some of whom may wish to seek asylum in Liberia. Honor the agreement or arrangement. Those to be transferred from the United States of America to Liberia will include citizens or nationals of African and Western Hemisphere countries who are medically authorized to travel. The government of Liberia announces further that the first batch of 20 individuals to be transferred to Liberia under the arrangement will arrive in the country on Thursday, August the 20th, 2026. Meanwhile, the government has made the necessary preparations for their reception at the Roberts International Airport and for their stay in Liberia. The government wants to emphasize that those being brought to Liberia are being received as guests of the Republic in keeping with Liberia's long-standing tradition of being a country that has provided shelter to all those seeking refuge and protection from persecution, wars, and other forms of conflict. The persons to be transferred from the United States of America to Liberia should therefore be accorded full Liberian hospitality whilst in Liberia and shall remain free to depart the country when they so desire. However, any person being brought to Liberia who desires to make Liberia their home will be accorded the opportunity to apply for asylum in keeping with Liberian laws. The government of Liberia intends to provide the transferred persons with the necessary support to seek protection in Liberia and to be safe during their stay here. The government notes further that Liberia will receive support to manage the program and strengthen its migration system more broadly. More so, Liberia's gesture is entirely humanitarian and is in keeping with the country's long-standing traditions. Liberia, the first Black African independent nation on the continent, has a long history of accepting people seeking refuge from political and other crises. As a matter of fact, Liberia itself was founded as a refuge for free slaves from the United States of America and other parts of the world. You may recall that the name Liberia comes from the Latin word liber, meaning free. So Liberia means the land of the free. The country has maintained this tradition through the years. During Liberia's years of conflict, many countries around the world, including the United States of America, provided sanctuary and protection for Liberians who fled the conflict. That period and gesture we cannot easily forget as a nation and people. Also, when Liberia stood as the only independent country in Africa during the period of European colonialism and domination, the country provided a safe haven for African freedom fighters in the struggles to liberate the rest of Africa, including Nelson Mandela, who lived in Congo Town. Stateless African freedom fighters used Liberia as their residence and traveled the world with Liberian passports. Liberia has no history of deporting anyone for living here irregularly or without documentation. In this case, where Liberia has agreed to receive persons transferred from the United States, our decision to accept them is in keeping with existing Liberian tradition. As a country, we have always welcomed people who cannot return to their home of origin, and to reject these third-party nationals will be acting against our best interest. Liberia therefore sees this arrangement as an opportunity to showcase Liberian hospitality and goodwill towards all, and we intend to maintain that tradition. The government therefore calls on all of our citizens and residents to treat those being transferred to Liberia with due courtesy and to accord them our true African hospitality. I know the Deputy Minister had, as usual, listed a couple of other issues that he wanted us to talk about, but I wanted this press conference to be restricted to this position that I've just read. So when I give you...
Galagua has accepted the fact to receive over 1,200 persons. Does it in any way suggest that there are conflicts in the United States of America of which those persons of interest have declared desire of seeking asylum to Liberia?
Thank you so much, Honorable Minister. My name is James Allen. I have a report for the George Africa and Liberia. Officer, thank you so much. The issue that has to do with asylum seekers, some of them in their homes, they have caused mayhem or atrocities, or trying to create an atmosphere of a government like that's suitable. Now you have spoken, yet you do not tell us those who have come to seek asylum in Liberia, those crimes they have committed, or what is exactly do they want to seek only asylum in Liberia? When we are here struggling for the drugs to dismantle the drug cartel and having people coming to seek asylum in our country.
Thank you so much, Dr. Minister. My name is Strobel Fly and I work for DNE's Liberia. It's stated in a session that about 1,200 people will be coming to Liberia. Is it part of the Trump's administration deportation program, or is another arranged initiative?
Good afternoon, I'm Marius today and I report for Radio News Africa. And thanks, Minister, for the news that you are here to. Quickly, I want to know how prepared are we as a nation when it comes to having these people that will come and we have. How prepared are we to have them in the country?
Let me say thank you. My name is Joseph Sally and I'm good for that. And just build up to the question. In terms of preparedness as a nation, we are still in battle with some of these things that are healthcare, like agriculture and education. How prepared are we in terms of receiving these people that will come to the country?
My name is Arena Deported and I report for Blaze FM. Mr. Minister, Liberians are concerned. You talked about support that the USA will be providing some level of support. But what specific support? Is it financial support or in terms of security? Thank you.
So that's it for questions by journalists. This is response by
See,
Monrovia.
my record number is Mr. Pierre. What happened at the end of the 1 year period with the agreement ends after the 1,200 people are received, or is there any option for another state to request extension?
So that's it for questions by journalists. This is response by Minister Pierre. Also, if you join us from, I would like to say welcome. This is the Liberian National Television. I'm coming to you live from the Ministry of Information for its Tuesday's edition of its regular press briefing. So the press briefing is addressed by Information Minister Joel McBeer, Honorable His Excellency Sarah Besto-Yanti, our Minister of Foreign Affairs, our next is Justice Minister, Councillor and also Toy. So there is a full house. So once again, sticking still first. I will stick still first. As we bring you 4 updates of this MOI Tuesday's press briefing. Keep following.
So I wanted to make the conference more interactive, and I was trying to join on the other officials to maybe seek to address your questions. I will start, and probably if they have to say, then they will do so. So there appears to be some kind of misunderstanding which you must first clear. Americans are not being taken from America to be transferred here. When they say third country or third-party nationals, what that means, take for example, you come from Liberia and you went to the US and you were seeking asylum. And your asylum case did not succeed. Under international laws, the Americans cannot, or that country cannot send you back to your own country, because the fact that you are seeking asylum means you're running away from something for your country. So if they don't still want you there, what they do is they look for third countries that can be used to allow you to leave. But the way it also works is when you leave, you have the right to come, arrive today, and say you want to go to wherever you want to go, whether back to your own country or somewhere else. So that is the kind of arrangement that we're talking about here, not that Americans are sending their citizens here. If you're a citizen of America, they can, like many of you can always say, you Liberians, the only place you cannot be deported from Liberia. So nobody can deport you from your own country. So one of you is saying over 1,200 persons, no. The maximum may be that number. It has a whole year cycle. It's also possible that You may or may not reach that number depending on different scenarios and circumstances. It is also possible that just as the people come, they request to leave. So what we said here is that those who will come and not ready to move beyond and want to seek asylum, our laws are clear on how people can do so. In that case, we help those people to ensure that their asylum processes are carried out. Somebody wants to know how prepared are we as a country. We did say that for the purpose of caring for those who will be moving through here, the up to 1,200 persons, were they to come, their stay and everything associated with the process is being taken care of by the government of the United States of America. So in terms of preparation, that addresses your question that yes, we are prepared because we're not using our own meager resources to care for them. The place they're coming from, that government is taking the responsibility to care for them. In terms of health, somebody say Liberia is what? We get drug problem, we get health problem. We have a national steering committee that has handled this issue. The Ministry of Health is involved. All arrangements are in place for those who may have any health situation to be taken care of. Notwithstanding, we've been assured and it's being vetted by our people that all of those who will be sent here will be people in the best state of health. But human being can get sick anytime. I can be standing here today after the press conference, I go and say the man fell off. So if something like that should happen, we'll be prepared to also handle that. After the 1 year, what next? Maybe before, after the 1 year, all the people who would have come would have passed through. Because as I explained to you, when they come, they will decide whether they want to move on after they've left U.S. territory. Some could just say, I want to go back home, or I don't want to go back home, but I want to go somewhere else. Even that process of getting them away from here does not have any expenditure implication for government. There's an international group that will be responsible for that. They will find them ticket, they will do everything to ensure that they get to where they're supposed to get. So that's what's going to happen after 1 year. But like I said, maybe within that 1 year period, the targeted maximum of 1,200 persons may or may not come. Maybe in a whole year, you got 300 of those cases that were really processed. But the commitment is there's an understanding for up to 1,200 maximum that should come. That number could be attained, it may not be, depending on the different circumstances. What crimes have they committed? Yeah, maybe the Attorney General will take care of that. I think those were the questions. Yes, from what Daniel wrote. So, as Attorney General, would you believe there's anything that any question?
Good afternoon, members of the press. Relative to the security matters, those who are being transferred to Liberia, who are being vetted and screened by the Americans, they send us a listing. We have done our own vetting before each batch arrive. We vet and screen them to make sure. Most of them are people who maybe had the immigration violation, immigration offenses, I think. But we will screen them, that will be screened. And manifest will be sent to us, we'll look at it and do our own thorough screening. And we have the right before they arrive to reject anybody who figure not desirable for our country. Thank you.
And let me add, so that it does not become an issue since it was not asked, that Liberia is not the first country that this kind of arrangement is being implemented with. There are multiple countries on the African continent, in West Africa where we are situated, that have similar arrangements with the United States. So that you go with the understanding that this is something that has not happened anywhere and out of the woods. Liberia is the only country that is doing it. No, you are journalists. You can cross-check. You can access the World Wide Web and you see examples of countries that have had similar arrangements. And like I said during that presentation, we should not be quick to forget. You got, I don't know how many thousand in Minnesota, 500 or so thousand in the United States of America. You have to understand that most of those who found their way there, through whom some of us here are surviving. There are people in Liberia who are not working, but they survive from remittances they receive from their families in America. They too are a country that have been able to host people from all around the world. But they have their systems, especially with regards to migration. And if you don't meet what they consider their requirement, they say, no, you gotta go back to your country. But they're also conscious of the fact that you cannot force someone against their will to go back to a country that they say they're running away from. That's where this arrangement comes in, where third-party countries can receive them, giving them the right eventually to decide to leave once they touch our grounds.
The voice of one Liberian we just answer the questions or concerns by journalists.
I just want to add that we have an agency of government, LRRC, that is actually in charge of the operational aspects of this. So they have already laid out the groundwork where these people will be staying, what kind of arrangements to be on. There are people who are also going to be catering to them to make sure that they are well taken care of. Subsequently, we expect that LRRC will probably talk to you about the arrangements that have been made. All of the security arrangements are in place. It's going to be Liberian security all of the way, and we've planned it, so you can rest assured that these situations will be well taken care of.
I've been asked to close. I think the only thing that we haven't mentioned, importantly, LRRC is the one leading on the ground. LRRC is the one that's responsible, but we haven't reminded us that LRRC does this naturally. This is the work they do. LRRC has been dealing with migration and migrant issues. So the support will be getting for the migrant system. We have Burkina Faso here, we have other migrants here, so LRRC does this. And in terms of asylum seeking, we have asylum seekers, and there's a judicial system, asylum system already in place that LRRC will be using. So this is not new for LRRC. This is something that they do regularly. This will just be expanded to include this new category. I think with that, on behalf of the entire team, we are many on that team. It's a very vast team. And on behalf of the team, this is the information provided today. Thank you.
So down the voice of His Excellency Sarah Bestoyanti, that's Her Excellency Sarah.
Patience and your attention. We now like to draw this press conference for close, and we look forward to seeing all of you on Thursday. Thank you very much.
So that's 8-4 to the press briefing here at the Ministry of Information. Also, so the press briefing was addressed by Information Minister Jerome Mark Pia, alongside Her Excellency Sarah Bestoyanti, our Ministers of Foreign Affairs, alongside Councillor N. Osatue, Ministers of Justice. So whatsoever you join us from, I would like to take the following or do join us Thursday for another edition of the Ministry of Information regular press briefing. Until then, my name is Masiame Kone. I've been here with my colleague Anthony Williams. Bye.